Hello and welcome to another episode of Life Stuff 101. This is day 2 of the series of mini episodes as part of the Challenging Times Challenge. My name is Mio Yokoi. I work as a registered psychotherapist in Toronto, Canada, and also as a coach and supporter to striving, highly sensitive folks everywhere. But before we begin, I know that there are many people who are having difficulties and challenges specific to their situations at this time. However, I want to make sure to mention that this podcast is meant for general information purposes only, and it isn't meant to be specific advice. And for personalized help, or if you have specific questions or concerns, please consult a medical or mental health care provider. So again, welcome to day 2 of the Challenging Times Challenge. With all the changes and self-isolating many of us in the world are currently practicing, it's my hope that providing a daily challenge in the form of prompts to help with getting some practices in place. And the hope is that by doing so, it'll maybe help to support emotional stability or maybe to be a distraction for a few minutes in your day as you work on one of these challenges. The goal here is to give you a little something to add a bit of structure to your day to help with self-care. And I do want to say that at such uncommon times in our lives, just getting by or just figuring things out or surviving alone is a big deal. So this Challenging Times Challenge isn't meant to be about productivity. It's meant to be about self-care. And more than anything, it's okay for things to be done imperfectly. And in fact, that's a challenge that I give you. Please challenge yourself to do things imperfectly. Like, it's not about doing things right or a should or anything like that. Before we get into day 2, yesterday was day 1, naturally, and I suggested starting a morning routine. And since this is just completely new and I'm figuring it out as I go along, I figured I'll just go back and talk a little bit more about that. So the purpose of having a morning routine, I think, is just to get your day started off on the right foot, so to speak. Without some kind of a routine, you might find yourself at a bit of a loss if you're just getting out of bed and either start scrolling through your phone or just beginning to get online or something like that. And the thing is, the morning routine doesn't have to be elaborate or take a long time or anything like that. And in fact, at the end of the day, or the first thing in the morning, it's ultimately up to you as to what you want it to look like or how it serves you. I mentioned in the day 1 episode that I personally restarted my meditation practice this past week. But to kind of round it out, I'll just talk about what my morning routine consists of presently. So this is what it is right now. So I get up, I wake up, and the first thing I do before I do anything else is I engage in about 10 minutes of practicing meditation using an app called Waking Up by Sam Harris. Then I do my morning hygiene routine. Then I take the medication I need to take daily. And I find that if I do add it to my morning routine, I don't forget it. And that way it's just something that I do automatically. Then I do 30 minutes of brain training, and then I have breakfast. That's been my routine now for the past week or so. And now I decided to add a movement routine because I'm finding that being inside, I am not doing too much physically. And I think that it's important to always include some kind of movement as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. And what I decided to do was to start a challenge, actually, that an app called Eccentrics, or they have a website as well, Eccentrics, Essentrics. I have an Apple TV, so and they have an app for that. So I decided to download that and to engage in the 30-minute or the 30-day movement challenge that they also have as part of their app. So I'm hoping that it will be part of my exercise routine. So for me, I find that having this routine and doing things in this order creates a sense of order that helps me start my day. You might decide to only have one thing in your morning routine or 7. Again, ultimately, it's really up to you because it's supposed to serve you. There isn't a right or a wrong here. But what I do challenge you to do is to have at least something you can have as part of your morning routine to start your day. I'd love to hear what you either have as your morning routine or what you are thinking of starting or might have started or might have also added. And if you haven't started yet, I suggest that you just whip out your phone and make a note or grab a pen and paper and jot something down that you'd like to add to your morning routine, or just brainstorm some things that you think that would be a good way to start your day. Maybe it's exercise and meditation like me, or maybe it's a gratitude practice. So again, you can start by brainstorming a number of things that you can potentially do to start your day, and maybe just pick one thing if you haven't started anything yet, and just try it out for a week and see how it goes. And then if that's working for you, then you can add a second thing. And I do believe in creating a strong foundation. And I think in order to do that, it often helps just to start with one thing and get the groove going on that, and then to keep adding. And that way you're starting off on a more solid foot. And hopefully that's something that could be helpful for you. So the thing about writing things down, there are studies that show that writing down your intentions gives them a better chance of the possibility of success. And writing them down on paper has been shown to be more effective versus maybe just writing or typing them out on your computer or making a note on your smartphone. So if you haven't already, write down what you'd like to have as your morning routine and start with one action for the next week to get it naturally feel like it's part of your routine. But just to go back to that whole thing about like writing things down, if you don't have a pen and paper, if you just, it's easier to do it on your phone or your laptop, just do it that way. Again, there isn't a should or the right way of doing things. Just, I think the important thing or the most beneficial thing is just to get it done. Again, do it imperfectly. And if you already have your smartphone out, if you have your laptop up, or if you have a pen and paper out, the challenge for today is this. Let's dedicate a page, a notebook, or a file to making a list of all the things you've thought or said you'd like to get done. So the Day 2 Challenging Times Challenge is: list out the things you often have on the back burner as things you'd like to do, but feel you don't have time or energy to do. You might make a to-do style list, or maybe you might sketch out a list, or perhaps you might do a scrapbook style list. Whatever strikes your fancy. Again, there isn't any one way to do this. And I know that different people express themselves differently or organize their thoughts differently. So do whatever makes sense for you. And I'd encourage you to put down everything that comes to mind. It might be a course or a subject matter you've wanted to look into. It might be some projects you wanted to get done around your home, or something creative you've been thinking about. It might just even be reading more. And that's it. Get it all down. And that's all you need to do for today. Personally, my list includes cleaning out the hallway closet, update the podcast website, figure out how to add e-commerce functionality on my husband's website, and bake some bread, amongst other things. I know a lot of people are breaking bread. And in fact, actually, I have done some bread baking myself, and there is something, I think, soothing. And it's not necessarily a good combination that I'm eating bread or making bread, eating bread, and not moving very much. But homemade raisin bread has actually been really delicious and hard to resist, and it's been comforting. So again, the challenge for today is get down in one way, shape, or form all the stuff you usually have on the back burner. So here are your steps. 1, carve out 10 dedicated minutes to complete today's challenge. 2, I'd recommend a sheet of paper or notebook to physically write or draw or design out your list of all the things or projects you'd always put off for a time when you'd have more time. And if you don't have paper or notebook handy, use whatever is at your disposal. and keep that list in a place that's handy for you so that you can keep adding to the list in case you think of more things to add. And that's it for today. If you feel like getting something done on that list today, go for it. Great. But if not, that's okay too, because today's challenge is just to get these things out of your head and into physical form. I'd love to hear about what's on your list and let me know how you're doing. Reach out to me on Twitter at LifeStuff101pod or on Instagram at LifeStuff101podcast or on the website at LifeStuff101.com. That's day 2 of the Challenging Times Challenge. List out the things you usually don't have the time or energy to do. Stay tuned for day 3 of the Challenging Times Challenge and also, fingers crossed, a full episode of Life Stuff 101. Until then, please stay safe and in good health wherever you are in the world, and I'll be speaking with you again for day 3 of the Challenging Times Challenge. Take good care.